There hasn't been measurable rainfall there in almost 2 months, and barely an inch of rain the month before. As we flew from the west side of the state of Washington to the east side last week to visit friends, the drought was evident even from the air. Except for the occasional brilliant green crop circle created by irrigation, the ground was colorless and cracked, portions of it blackened from fires that had swept through. Dust blows every day, everywhere, even in your teeth. Wildfires ignite simply at the thought of a spark. The summer wheat harvest is almost over, but you could still see the occasional combine in the field, enveloped in a storm of chaff and dust. Temperatures climb and climb and climb. I woke to a hazy sky one morning at our friend's home and stood with my coffee looking at the sky and said, "Is it going to rain today?" They just looked at me. "It doesn't rain here. That haze, that smoke, everything is on fire." Eastern Washington is not technically desert country, but it feels like it in the summer. Rain? It will come, eventually. But they don't expect it. They don't pray for it anymore. Rain? My last experience of a real desert was in the Middle East. Hiking in the Negev desert is like hiking on the moon. Nothing but rocks and sand and grit for miles. And rain? Maybe 5 inches in a year, in a good year. And that's the land through which the people of Israel were marching, having left slavery in Egypt to the freedom of the Promised Land. Perhaps it seemed a good idea at the beginning to take every Hebrew-born man, woman, child, and dog out of Egypt into the wilderness to go to this land that God had promised. After all, nothing could be worse than slavery, could it? Oh, it could, my friends. Things can always get worse. At this point in their journey, 45 days after the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea and the last big body of water they had seen, they were over it. Freedom had stopped being fun. Food supplies were low. Water was scarce. There was no structure to their days. At least when they'd been slaves in Egypt, someone had told them every day, "Get up, do this, eat this, live here, go to bed now." But there was no structure in the wilderness. They walked, and they walked, and they walked, and they whined. The Israelites decided among themselves that they had been duped, that God was messing with them, that God had made all these enormous promises only to lure them into the desert and then cackle as they died from hunger or thirst or boredom. But God heard them. God always hears us when we call. God knew that they were hot and tired. God knew that they needed refreshment.